Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm doing something a little different. I will be making a bunch of finger food to cater for about 70 people for a birthday. Today I'll be making 4 different types of meat skewers with a variety of sauces: arancini, spring rolls, curry puff, quiches. I've got about 24 hours before the party starts, so let's begin. Just a quick note, I won't be mentioning any quantities in this video, and I'll be doing all the prep work behind the camera simply because I'm catering for about 70 people. But if you are interested in making one of these recipes, then I'll write down a suitable quantity list for you. We're gonna start with the arancini because it's probably gonna take the longest. So what we have here, some neutral oil. In goes our yellow onion, which have been finely diced. We'll saute them until they're translucent. Once your onions are soft and translucent, add in your mushrooms, which have been roughly chopped. Now fry everything down until the mushrooms have shrunk about half the size. Once you've simmered all the water out of the mushrooms, just give it a good crack of pepper. Give it a quick stir. Followed by your borio rice. Stir it around. Once everything is mixed, add in your white wine. Once all the white wine has been reduced, we'll just transfer into a bigger pot. And now we are adding in our chicken stock. We're gonna let this simmer away for about 30 to 40 minutes with the lid on, and we'll come back to it to see if it needs any other seasonings or water. After 35 minutes, all the rice has absorbed all the stock, so the last step to do is just add a few knobs of butter and then let it cool down overnight. Next, we're gonna start with our croquettes. I'm using brushed potatoes that I've cubed and washed up, a generous helping of salt. We'll fill it up with water and we'll let it boil away for about 10 minutes. To give the croquettes some flavor, we're just adding some diced bacon. Once you cooked all the water out of the bacon and it's only the bacon grease left, it's time to add our onions. And we're gonna cook this down for a further 15 minutes. Once the onions have caramelized and the bacon has a nice sear in it, set it aside and we'll get our potatoes ready. The potatoes have been boiling away for about 15 minutes, so it's time to drain and we'll get them mashed up. I've let the potatoes strain for about 5 minutes. I want it as dry as possible, so once I form it and deep fry it, it doesn't fall apart. We'll add some butter to the potatoes, a small pinch of salt. We don't want to put too much because we've got a lot of salt coming from the bacon. A good crack of pepper, and we'll start mashing away. Once you've mashed it into the desired texture, just simply add your onion and bacon mixture. You mix it in. And that is your mixture for your croquette. It may not be traditional, but it's packed full of flavor. We're gonna make the first of 3 sauces. The first sauce we're making is ajvar, which is a Macedonian and Yugoslavian sauce. To start off, we're gonna char the skin of our capsicum and an eggplant. You can char up as much as you want because we are going to remove the skin and seeds at the end. Once your capsicum looks like this and the skin has blistered, we'll put it into a bowl with some cling wrap over the top and we'll let it steam for about 10 minutes. If you don't have a gas grill to char the skin, you can simply use the oven to roast the vegetables. After 15 minutes, we've let the capsicum steam in its own heat, so let's have a quick look at these. You can see it's deflated itself and a lot of water has come out of the capsicum. So next step, we're just gonna peel the charred skin off them. Once you've peeled all the char off the skin, we'll set it aside and we'll start de-seeding them after. Once you've taken off all the charred skin off the veggies, use a paper towel to wipe off any excess charred skin. Once any excess charred skin has been removed, we'll de-seed our capsicum and eggplant and we'll put it over a strainer to release as much water as possible. Once everything has been de-seeded, we'll leave it in the strainer for about 4 hours just to extract as much water out as possible. If you can't do this step or don't have enough time, it's not an issue because we are going to cook it out later so you can simmer the water out. After about 4 hours, the eggplant and capsicum have dried out a little bit. So what we're going to do now is add them to a food processor, followed by cloves of garlic that have been minced, a pinch of salt, followed by some olive oil to loosen it up. We're going to pulse the ingredients together. We don't want it super smooth, we want it slightly chunky. Lastly, we'll add a bit of vinegar and some sugar. We'll mix it one last time. This is the consistency I'm after. Now we're going to simply fry it off. Before we start frying, we're just going to add a bit more neutral oil. Then in goes our mixture. Now we're going to simmer off the sauce until the majority of the water has gone and the sauce becomes a thicker consistency. After about 10 minutes, you can see all the water content has been reduced down. You can see it's a thick consistency. So what we're going to do now is turn the heat off. We'll add some salt and the last drizzle of olive oil. And that's the look we're after. All right, we'll let it cool down and then we'll put it into a bowl and set it aside. While that's steaming away, we'll get our second sauce ready. We've got chickpeas here, so we're gonna make some hummus. To start, we're gonna drain our chickpeas. Once that's draining, we'll get started with the other part of our hummus. First goes in our tahini, lemon juice, some salt. Blend this until it becomes a thick paste. We'll add in some garlic. We'll put in some olive oil just to loosen it up a little bit and some cumin. We'll blend that up for a further minute. Once everything has been blended together and your paste becomes a smooth consistency, it's time to add the chickpeas. Once the chickpeas are in, we'll blend it for a further minute or two. If the consistency is too thick, add some water to loosen it up. Once your hummus looks like this, it's ready to be served. This is a personal preference choice here, but it's entirely up to you if you want to blend it further for another 5–10 minutes to be completely smooth, or if you would like it slightly chunky. The next sauce we're going to make is baba ganoush. So what I have here is some eggplant, which we're going to char over some gas flame. Place the eggplant directly over the flame. Once your eggplant looks like this, we'll put it into a bowl and place it over some cling wrap to let it steam for about 10 minutes. Next, we're gonna peel the charred skin off the eggplant. It has steamed in its own heat, so it's ready now. Peel it off, like so. Okay, the eggplant should look like this, and once that's done, we'll just place it into a strainer to let all the water out. Now all the charred skin has been peeled, we're just gonna simply leave it in our strainer for about 4 hours just to extract as much water as possible. I've let the eggplant strain for about 4 hours, so we're ready to make our baba ganoush. So firstly, what I'm gonna start with is lemon juice, followed by tahini, pinch of salt, and we'll blend that together until it becomes a thick paste. Once the tahini and lemon juice mix together, add your garlic, some cumin. We'll blend that one more time. Now it's time to add your eggplant. This part of the process, we'll just simply pulse it to get the right consistency. Just before finishing it off, we're gonna add some oil and just check your seasoning levels for the baba ganoush. This is the consistency we're after. Now that the mixture is ready, we'll transfer it to a bowl, place it in the fridge until it's ready. The next item we're making is a quiche. We're just gonna do a simple filling of spinach and feta. So to start off, we're just gonna boil a pot of water. We'll bring that to a boil. Once the water has come up to a boil, simply add your baby spinach in. Now this is only gonna take about 10–15 seconds. Okay, the spinach is ready, strain it out. And we'll let that strain out while we get our egg mixture ready. Next step, we're gonna crack some eggs into a bowl. I'm just gonna use a stick blender for this to speed up the process. Okay, our egg mixture is ready. I've got some feta cheese here that we're just gonna break into our egg mixture. The next step we're gonna do is squeeze out all the water in the spinach. And we'll just give it a quick rough chop. Now we'll just add it to our egg mixture. Bit of salt, not too much because of all the feta cheese, and a good cracker pepper. We'll quickly stir this up. And we'll get our pastry ready. Next, we're gonna cut our pastry sheets into the shape of our tray molds. I'm just starting off with our gluten-free options, so I'm only making a few of these. We're gonna simply push our pastry into the shape of the mold. Now we're just gonna add a bit of our egg mixture into each one. Now into the oven for 20 minutes. So after 20 minutes, your quiches should look like this. So we'll let them cool down and then we'll place them aside. And now onto our skewers. We're gonna start off with our lamb marinade. Firstly with some lemon zest, followed by the juice of each lemon, followed by minced garlic. Next, oregano, followed by some thyme, a little bit of honey. Next will be some olive oil, salt, lastly some cracked pepper. All right, we'll set that aside. So for that marinade, it is a Greek style marinade, so it's gonna pair well perfectly with our lamb. We're gonna quickly pat that dry. Now we're gonna dice the meat into small cubes so they can fit it onto our skewers. All right, I've cut up all the meat. We'll mix it with the marinade and then we'll leave it overnight. Now the marinade for the beef. So it's going to be a Lebanese inspired marinade. So we're going to start off with some yogurt, some lemon. Next we have some garlic, some oregano, some cumin, paprika, and some salt. Give that a quick mix. We'll start off by cutting off the silver skin off the back and then we will start dicing it up. Today I'm using Wagyu blade steak. It is extremely cheap cut of meat. There is a gristle in the middle, but because I'm making skewers, I'm simply cutting them out. All right, everything's been cut up. We'll marinate it and then we'll store it away overnight. For our chicken, we're gonna start off with our marinade. It is a Turkish inspired marinade, so we're gonna start off with some yogurt, some sweet paprika, a little bit of turmeric, a good pinch of salt, some tomato paste, and lastly, some minced garlic. We'll give it a quick mix. We'll set that aside and we'll get our chicken ready. Today I'm using chicken thigh. It tends to stay juicy even if I do cook it longer accidentally. To make our spring rolls, we're gonna start with making the filling. So to start off, we're gonna use a bit of neutral oil. For our filling for our spring rolls, we are using some onion, cabbage, carrot which have been finely sliced, and some dried mushrooms which we have hydrated. This mushroom can be found at any local Asian grocer. To start off, we are going to fry all of them at once. We want all the vegetables to soften up and develop some color. After we have some color, we'll add some soy sauce. and a little bit of MSG. We'll continue stirring them. Now I add in a little bit of corn flour. The corn flour stops it from becoming a watery mess when cooking the spring rolls. We'll now start making the filling for our curry puffs. So we're going to start with a bit of neutral oil again, followed by some potato and onion which have been finely diced. We'll keep frying them until we have some nice color on our potatoes and onions. Once we have some good color on the potatoes, it's time to add our chicken. Once the chicken is cooked all the way through, we'll add a little bit of soy sauce, followed by a bit of curry powder. We'll add in a little bit of MSG. We'll take it off the heat. And that is our curry puff mixture. To make some spring rolls, all you need is your spring roll pastry. I'm just gonna put it in a diamond pattern and cut it lengthways across from one side to the other. So to assemble the spring roll, put your filling in the center, move both sides of the spring roll pastry in and roll. As you get to the end, put some water and continue to roll. And that is your first spring roll. To make our curry puffs, we're going to simply use some puff pastry sheets. Firstly, we're going to cut a circle around the puff pastry. Grab a tablespoon of your filling, seal the edges up, and for a bit of presentation, spiral the edge. And that is our first curry puff. And the last meat, the pork. I'm going for a Filipino style sauce, so to start off with some soy sauce. Next, brown sugar, followed by some oyster sauce. Next, some sesame oil, good pinch of salt, some white vinegar, and lastly, some lemonade. Now we'll mix it up. We'll leave this aside and get our pork ready. Today I'm using Scotch fillet, which is perfect for skewers. You can also use pork butt or pork neck for your skewers as well. All the pork has been cut up, so all I need to do now is just mix it and leave it overnight. That's pretty much it for today. It's been about 14 hours. I'm exhausted, so see you tomorrow. The potato mixture has been in the fridge sitting overnight, so it's time to mold the shapes and get it ready to get it crumbed. So before we do that, I'll just quickly dust the bottom of our tray with some flour. We have some cheese here we're going to add to the center of our mixture. We're going to start with about 50 grams of our mixture. We'll use our thumb, press the center, add a little small handful of cheese, close it up and mold the shape. And that will be our first croquette. We're simply going to make a tomato base for our arancini mixture. So we're just going to start off with some neutral oil. We're going to start off by frying our onion, which have been finely diced. Once the onions are soft and translucent, add in your garlic. We'll fry this until our garlic is fragrant. Once the garlic is starting to turn brown, we'll add in our crushed tomatoes. We'll cook the water down in the tomatoes, and once it becomes a thicker consistency, that's when I'll check the seasoning levels. Once the majority of the water has been evaporated and the tomato base looks like this is when you start to add your salt and a good crack of pepper. We'll stir that along and then we'll let it set aside for about 10 minutes and let it cool down. Once our tomato mixture has been cooled down and our rice has been set overnight, it's time to start making our arancini. We'll start by adding some flour to the bottom of our tray again. Measure up 75 grams per ball. Once you've grabbed that, form a ball. Press down the center of your ball to form a nice well. Once your well has been made, add your tomato mixture, add some cheese, close the center up, and there we have it, our first arancini. All right, I'm here at the party house, so all I'm gonna start doing now is start skewering the meat. Grab a couple pieces of meat, push it through. It's just gonna simply look like that. One down, about 400 to go. We started coating the arancini, so I've got my wife here, which is on the flour station. She'll be coating the arancini with flour. I will be doing the egg mixture, which is basically just a mixture of egg and maybe a bit of water. Use one hand for your wet hand, one for your dry hand. Coat the rice with the flour mixture, dip it into the egg. Once that's coated, I coat it in the breadcrumb. And that is one arancini done. About 100 more to go. Today I have my minions helping me. On my right, we have Emma. Then we have the birthday girl, Jeanette, and there's Mary on the left. All right, we are outside. We are ready to grill. First thing first, we're gonna get our coals nice and hot. Once they're ready, we're gonna put it in our barbecue and get our skewers ready to be grilled. All right, we're just gonna simply add more charcoal. All right, we'll get this hot enough, and then once it's ready, we'll start grilling. All right, after about 45 minutes, the grill is nice and hot. We'll get our skewers on. We'll leave them for about 5 minutes, flip it over, and then we'll apply our base. All right, after about 3 minutes on each side, it's ready to turn. We'll leave this side for about 3 minutes and we'll apply our marinade or our base. We'll quickly flip it over. Now we'll quickly baste this side. Bear in mind that the basting sauce has a lot of sugar in it, so it will burn very fast. I would only leave it for about a minute or so. Okay, flip it over. All right, minute is up and they're ready to be taken out. First tray's done, about 8 more to go. All right guys, I just finished up cooking the meat and I'm running super late, so I'm gonna have to end the video there. With the arancini and croquettes, just fry in 350 Fahrenheit for about 5 minutes or until golden brown. And the curry puffs, we just put a bit of egg wash and bake it for about 15 minutes at 180 degrees Celsius. I will put a more detailed instructional video for those wanting to make it. All right guys, catch you in the next video.